The third planet orbiting this yellow star had life. Zelia couldn't believe her eyes as she breached the atmosphere with her ship. This place was a paradise. She passed over vast forests, teeming with life, countless trees swinging silently in the melodies of the wind. Giant mountains stretched for the heavens, breaching the clouds above. Enormous jungles, housing ancient trees and mysterious creatures. Blazing hot deserts with scorching sands and waving hills, as well as freezing tundras and lands of ice where snow lasted forever. All of this was nothing compared to the endless ocean so deep and wide that she could never hope to explore it all, even if she were to have a second life. Zelia had a hard time deciding, but in the end, she chose to gently land her ship on a green field. The air was breathable, better than breathable even. It was nothing like the recycled air of a ship or station, or the polluted air of a city planet. It was alive. Every breath was pure bliss, filling her with life. She was so overwhelmed that she took a moment to sit down, her heart beating in pure joy, matching the beat of the strange animals who chirped happy songs. Countless smells filled her nose, one stranger than the next, but none of them unpleasant. "It's been a long time since I've had a visitor." Zelia squawked in shock when someone suddenly spoke up. "You're not one of my children. You're from the stars. May I ask who you are?" Zelia whirled around, coming face to face with the strangest beings she had ever encountered. It was glowing a vibrant green, with a strange transparent body that seemed almost immaterial like a ghost. She couldn't tell its shape, for it was almost constantly changing. Every time she blinked, it was a different animal. Beautiful avians turned into graceful felines, which then again became something else entirely. All things she had never seen before. It was a strange and terrifying beauty. "What are you?" Zelia stuttered in shock. The being chuckled. "Me? I'm Terra. Who and what I am makes no difference, for there's only one planet like me." "Planet?" Zelia shook her head. "No, that's impossible. Planets can't be alive." A soft giggle filled the air before the being spread her arms, which were wings that were legs. "Look around. Do you see anything else but life?" Zelia fell silent at that, and with no one speaking, life was all that could be heard. The chirping of birds, the rustling of tiny creatures in the undergrowth, the soft whispering of the wind through the trees. "If you really are this planet, then you're beautiful," Zelia finally concluded. "Thank you, little visitor. But tell me, who are you?" 1 month later. Zelia stood on the podium, showing the final picture of her scientific expedition to her people, the Nairo. "Billions, if not trillions of species, spread across 7 continents of various climates. Earth, or Terra, depending on your preference, is an oasis of life in the endless expanse of space, where even the planet itself is alive. I even discovered ruins of a long-gone race on its surface. The things we can learn here are enormous." The crowd erupted into chattering, countless discussions and talks blending together into a low hum. When silence returned, one of the Nairo finally spoke up. "What about resources? With no civilizations and so much life, there must be an untapped well of organic resources like coal, oil, and wood." Zelia frowned. "I don't think that's a good idea. We're dealing with a living, potentially even sentient planet here. I highly doubt that any form of excavation would end well." The Nairo waved his claw dismissively. "It's a giant planet. I highly doubt it will mind a handful of drills when there are millions of species digging through its surface already." 10 years later. It never stayed at a handful. Terra looked broken. Her once vibrant green glow was dim, and her beautiful form was frail. Despite all of this, she still held herself regal and proud, as she sat on the stump of a cut-down tree looking at the stars. It took her a moment, but then she recognized where she was. It was the same field she had first landed all those months ago. Zelaya barely recognized it. The air tasted different now. It was difficult to breathe without coughing. The songs of the birds had fallen silent, and the ground was torn up by the tracks of heavy machinery. The smell was somehow even worse than it was on her home planet. The mere sight made Zelena's heart ache, as countless emotions filled her. Sorrow, pity, shame, anger. She struggled to count them all. Sorrow and pity for Terra, who had been so kind, yet so cruel, but always fair. Shame and pity at her own people, who would do this to a planet so beautiful, so full of life, determined to turn it into nothing more than another industry. Zelaya sighed as she sat down next to Terra. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried to stop them, but they wouldn't listen." Terra was silent for a second, before turning to the young Nero with a soft smile. "I know. I saw what you did. You fought day and night for me, always seeking to help the planet and preserve my beauty. In fact, you remind me of someone when they were younger. They were just like you, messing up, even hurting me and doing terrible things, but always trying to do better for my sake, as well as their own. In the end, they pulled through, overcame their flaws, and helped me heal and become stronger than ever before." Terra looked up at the stars again. It was then that Zelena noticed that it wasn't a dreamy look. Terra wasn't looking at the night sky. She was focused on it. A determined gaze of someone who knew exactly what they were looking for. Almost like her eyes rested on something specific. "You're a kind soul, Zelena. I will tell them to spare you and keep you safe from their wrath." Zelaya looked at Terra in surprise, as an uneasy feeling came over her. "What are you talking about?" Then the sky lit up in a bright fireball, causing the young Nero to squeak in fear. Her eyes could only watch in silent disbelief as the sky lit up in streaks of fire. The mothership, she realized. Something had destroyed the Nero mothership, smashing it into countless pieces that fell into the atmosphere where Terra greeted them in her fiery embrace. Terra chuckled softly. "The humans. They were the smartest of my children and have reached for the stars many, many years ago, but they never forgot about me. They remember, and when they heard me scream, they came back to defend me." More streaks of fire lit up the sky, as something else descended from the heavens, this time controlled and coordinated. Ships. Millions of ships were descending towards the planet below. "You may have failed to stop those who seek to harm me, but they won't. They survive my wrath time and time again as I train them to be stronger, and shape them into the unstoppable force they are today." Zelaya didn't reply, frozen in fear as Terra slowly stood up. "Come now, child. You don't need to see what's about to happen. There's a nice place on my surface where you can wait out the storm."